It's kind of backwards that the very people that was good on you, initially overlooking you, initially betraying you, and believing that you were meant to be sacrificed or pushed out of their life, are the same ones acting as if you owe them a seat at the table, or you owe them a second chance, or you owe them a conversation. The very ones where, when they had your time, they had your energy, they had your willingness to, work things out or work together or get to know one another or compromise or just communicate overall. That those are the very ones who decided that your value was nothing to them. Your life was nothing to them. You were nothing to them. And that everyone else around them held more value, more importance, more weight than you did. Never mind that you met them with an open heart and pure honesty and genuineness. Never mind that you was willing to express yourself openly and honestly. Never mind that you were vulnerable in your communication. These same individuals act as if now that you've moved on with your life, only by way of their choice and decision to discard you, right? Only by way of their choice to throw you to the wolves or throw you to the sharks or betray you and attempt to sacrifice you, that now all of a sudden, now that their money is drying up, and now that the falsities and the mirage of fake relationships and arranged situationships for money and promises, false promises by the way, illusions, are drying up or being brought to the surface for all to see, hear, and know. Now all of a sudden, they're looking at you as if you owe them, or as if they now discover that their true feelings about you is something that they want to explore. Well, the question is, first the statement is not, no. There's no double backing, there's no backtracking. There's no respect and honor, as stated in previous videos, for cowards and clowns who refuse to even try to communicate. Even if you have hindrances in that area, even if you never learn how to communicate, anyone and everyone has a choice to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be genuine. The fact that you chose not to, the fact that you chose spell work, low vibrational practices, binding spells, glamour spells, love spells, the fact that you tried to force a person's will, change a person's heart, change a person's mind, play with a person's mind, manipulate a person's energy, and manipulate a person's mind. None of that is respectable. None of that is noble. None of that is honorable. None of that is respected. None of those actions that were taken is respected. None of those actions are respected. And so, you did everything you could except try the one thing that was only required and necessary. Communicate. Express yourself. Come out of your shell. Meet the person halfway the same way they met you. Be vulnerable. Be honest. Show your commitment. Show that you are truly willing to do whatever it takes to make it work, to bring things together. No, that was beneath you. That was unimportant to you. What was important is to save face. Keep up and maintain appearances. Keep up and maintain this illusion of superiority. Follow the signs of being superficial, materialistic, and mundane and basic under the guise of being advanced and, high sedity. See, many of the individuals with that mentality often make the same statements because they share the same mentality. They never had to chase. They never had to come out of their shell and express interest in anyone else because everything was always delivered at their feet or delivered in the palm of their hands or delivered in their lap. They never had to express vulnerability or express themselves. And if they ever had, it probably was to someone who betrayed them or the wrong person. And after that, they allowed themselves to become bitter, resentful, and dry up. When a real opportunity and a real connection and let's say divine union comes along, all of a sudden they can't recognize it, or they don't want to recognize it, because you still feel the nudges from your spirit team. You still feel your heartstrings being pulled. You still feel your heart chakra trying to activate and open up. Even though you may suppress it and try to push the feelings down, you still have, discernment that you ignore and intuition that you ignore. And even then, there are times where you're open, you feel the connection, but yet you ignore it. The moment that you feel challenged, or you understand that it's going to require work and you're going to have to give the honest effort, you shut down. The moment a smiling liar, a charming devil, a fake narcissistic sociopath, a copycat comes along, well dressed, well versed, able to, dangle that carrot in front of you, that carrot of illusion, most of the time, most likely copying and hiding in the energy of the very person you're trying to avoid and run from. You accept it and jump on it, and you take that illusion. No one's saying that everyone's perfect and that no one has trauma as it relates to acceptance and feeling adequate and feelings of inadequacy, but that's why you do your shadow work. That's why you do your healing. That's why you go within and you ask yourself, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, with the guidance of your spirit team, your beloved angels, why do I feel this way? And you ask yourself honestly, why do I feel as if I'm not worthy or good enough? Or why do I feel like it's beneath me to communicate and come out of my shell and express myself openly and honestly and communicate? Why do I feel like that's gonna, unalive me or expire me if I, allow myself to communicate within a connection that seems to be legitimized, legit? Why would I much rather go for the illusion, the dangling carrot, the smiling liar, the charming devil, the individual that's going to trap me in a relationship that within 6 months, 8 months, a year, I'm going to be miserable, crying in silence, wishing that I never took this turn, wishing that I would have just went ahead, humbled myself, another word that most of you can't stand, humbled myself, or let's replace humble with yield. Yielded unto divine planning, yielded unto your higher soul's calling, yielded unto your soul's purpose, yielded unto your divine path, that now you're willing or wish you had to put the work in, put the effort, the honest effort in, because it would have been far more greater and superior, as you're now beginning to see. It would have took longer, required discipline and patience, but as the saying goes, nothing worth having, does not go without sacrifice or, putting forth the effort. And so now you realize, after it's far too late, after the very person and opportunity that escaped you, that you fumbled, that you discarded, that you intentionally, consciously, and willfully threw away, it's backwards for you to now think that it's an issue with the opportunity, the person, the connection, the relationship that you decide to discard and throw away. All for a criminal network, a demonic coven of flying monkeys, minions, sellouts, and cronies. Individuals who will sell their own mama out for chump change. A whole criminal network, a false friendship group, who there is no honor amongst thieves. And at the end of the day, everyone is going to flip and turn on each other. Everyone is going to try to save themselves, but everyone is caught up. Everyone is going to try far too late, after all of their participation, to come clean and come forward and throw the rest of you under the bus and use the rest of you as a bargaining chip. Everything that you've done has been seen and recorded and documented and, logged and archived and seen. Everything. All of your activities on a daily basis, your unhinged behavior and actions and harassment and bullying and stalking and, federal crimes, and everything that you took part in has been seen. And now Even if we're not even talking from a legal standpoint, that's the least of your concerns, the legal standpoint, y'all. When I tell you spiritual justice and spiritual matters, judgment and adjudication from the divine is far superior than that of man-made legal system laws, etc. Because let's face it, especially from this experience, we know that there's many corrupt law enforcement participating within these demonic cults and covens and fraternities and criminal networks, right along with the very criminals, yet they simply wear a uniform and a badge. However, we understand that, even if indictments and arrests never come in a timely manner, a timely fashion, and people are able to make, deals and bribes, as has been the case for a while now with this situation. Many of you have escaped, lawful adjudication and the consequences of your actions by way of monetary, bribes, as well as sexual favors. Many of you gladly gave up your body to corrupt individuals within the justice system, be it investigators, detectives, judges, magistrates, attorneys, etc., in order to escape, rightful and lawful judgment. But that's not the case when it comes to spiritual adjudication, spiritual judgment. There's nothing and no one that can stop it. There's no one with a title or a badge or a uniform that can block or stop spiritual law, universal principle, and the scales of justice being balanced. There's no one that can escape judgment, regardless of your title, your position, your appearance, right? Your status within society or in the justice system. There's no one. There's nowhere you can run. There's nowhere you can hide. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter what your status is. Doesn't matter if you know all the private islands on the planet we called Earth. You can go to the most remote, isolated private island on your jet or yacht, and wherever you are, the spirit world remains. Universal law and principle is there. And so as you attempt to hide and flee and run to another country, to a foreign land, there's nowhere you can go where you're going to escape judgment or universal law or the spirit world, the beloved angels and ancestors, for all the foul, diabolical, wicked and evil deeds and actions that was committed against their loved ones and also innocent souls. So even if you hike and climb the highest mountain and you dig and hide in the deepest bunker, there is nothing and nowhere you can go where that judgment and adjudication and the balancing of the scales of justice will not find you and meet you where you are, where you flee, where you run, where you hide, as most cowards do after they don't want to face the music from what they participated in. See, most bullies and clowns, they like to dish it out and see other people squirm and miserable and, see their heart broken and interfere with their relationships and break up marriages and steal their person. And if a person is weak-minded enough to be stolen, then it says more about that person as well, having to take responsibility and accountability. But most bullies, they love to be bullies. But when it is turned around on them, that same energy, when the energy that they put out for so long and all the people that they bullied and harassed and stole from or whatever else they've done is turned around on them, multiplied by their consistency and actions, they can't even take a small percentage of what they put out. They can't even take the beginning stages of comeback and karma of what they decided to put out, as most of you are beginning to feel and experience. Everything that you participated in this fake friendship group, criminal network and organization of bullies and clowns, you're clowns because you feel empowered ganging up and stalking innocent people, one person, several people spread abroad. You have to be a clown and a coward to feel powerful, ganging up on, individual people whole groups of people feeling strong, empowered, being bullies. You have to be a coward and a clown, right? And then to see them with nothing, to lose everything, all so you can laugh and celebrate and party. You have to be a coward and a clown. You have to be cold-hearted. There is something absolutely wrong with your mental and your heart, your corrupted nature. And so when that comes back and returns to you, many of you narcissistic sociopaths, clowns and cowards, you can't even take the weight or even the beginning stages of the feeling that you feel bubbling, that you feel simmering, that you feel moving in your direction. Now you want to double down. We can't allow karma to come to us, but how are you going to stop it? It doesn't stop. But doubling down on all the stupid shit that you did in the first place to receive that karma is not going to stop the karma. That's the reason why you're getting the karma, because of all the stuff you did in the first place. See, you narcissists need to understand, right? Or people in general who ignorantly follow narcissists because they have a difficult time admitting the truth. But those of you who get caught up with them, that they beguile and trick, those of you who had a soul, and those of you who knew better, but you just chose to, go on this adventure like an idiot with these devils. You have to understand that in order to correct your actions, in order to change course, you have to do the complete opposite of what you did to get yourself in that predicament in the first place. Not double down, not triple down, not keep going, not listen to an idiot and a devil tell you, let's keep going, hang in there. The illusion and the mirage is at our fingertips. This stolen money is at our fingertips. Keep believing in the lies I'm telling you. Let me stay in your ear and your subconscious and keep following what I'm telling you. It's at our fingertips. No, you're supposed to change your course in action. That looks like confessing. That looks like getting ahead and taking accountability of your own truth and story and admitting what you took part in and participated in. That looks like being contrite and showing contrition and truly being genuinely sorry for what you participated in. But most of you are unable to yield or humble yourself and reach that place. And so as a result, you end up trapped within the confines of everything you participated in. You end up trapped with these sellout clowns that stalk like weirdos in the community, that join these demonic cults and covens, these criminal networks of sellouts who lack skill and training, and they think stalking is a real occupation. They think pocket watching and following people around the grocery store is a real occupation, right? They think that, hiding behind trees and bushes at the green spaces and mimicking and mocking other people's normal behavior is an occupation. When in actuality, what you're dealing with is groups within groups, and you have a particular group that seemingly quietly is attempting to strangely almost rise in a way where they're undetectably seeming to implant themselves in a strange position where their influence is affecting everyone in a strange way. And so when you see males and potential young men being trained in droves to act like deranged females or feminines, and acting as if it's normal to teach young men instead of giving them the proper training and skill set they need in this world, as traditionally has been done through the years, through the centuries. Men have to build and create strong communities and cities. They need to be carpenters, electricians, plumbers, HVAC techs. The weather and the elements is never going to fade and disappear, and so you have to have heating and air techs to be able to handle and deal with any and all circumstances and situations. You have to have carpenters to be able to create and build your infrastructures and your malls and your homes, etc. You have to have people who understand electricity. You have to have people who understand these things. And so instead of raising our young men up and sending them off for real training and real skills, you have a weirdly, oddly strange element within the community with this twisted feminine energy that's trying to creep up and take over. And it's coming from deranged females, deranged women, like, you know, real women, right? Vagina women. But it's also coming, and I'm saying these are truly narcissistic, deranged women, right? Hateful, spiteful, petty women. A combination with um, twisted feminine energy coming from males, many of them who are secretly down low. And so, therefore, behaving in such manner, doing things that men historically, typically, and usually don't do or behave as is normal to this group and to these individuals within this group. But it really seems as if there's some type of oddly strange, I don't know, I don't want to say takeover, but when you see it happening in a way where it's happening, you know, where they have no issue recruiting males, and so many males brought to surface in a way that appears to be um, this twisted feminine mentality, twisted feminine energy, right? Doing things that men don't typically, usually, historically do. Real men, none of us in the history of manhood, unless you're a detective for a living, an investigator, a federal agent who actually gets paid to solve crimes and do, certain things for a living. You've never seen a real man, a uncle, a grandfather, a pop, rocking his chair, light his pipe, and then halfway through say, "Up, Big Mama, I'll be back. Where you going, Pop? I'm going to pocket watch another man in a grocery store." I believe she probably would have, hit the roof. Or, "I'll be back. Where you getting ready to go, Unc?" "I'm getting ready to go stalk another man. I'm getting ready to go, hide behind some trees and bushes." "Unc, I ain't know you a detective. I ain't know you got your training and you on the force, or you got accepted to the, FBI. I ain't know you was a federal agent." "Oh, nah, I ain't no agent. We get paid to stalk other dudes and, hide behind trees and..." Unc! That's something a deranged, crazy female would do. Not a man, not a real man. So it's an odd, strange element that's taking place in society. No checks and balances. There's no type of honor. It's like these devils will hide behind their own children, teenagers, and use them as props as they're stalking and committing their federal offenses. Have them in the car, have them in the strollers. Because all of them are attempted on the lives, especially when you include the energy weapons, similar to that of Havana syndrome. When you include the technology that's being used, when you include the EMF to try to get people sick and mess with their, internal. All of these things, you might as well call it what it is. All of you are participating in attempting unalivings, but trying to do it covertly and sneakily. Again, there is nowhere you can run and you can hide that the spirit world is not going to find you. Because even if man escapes being responsible and honoring their oath of office and bringing forth the indictments and arrests, or it taking forever for them to come forward, the spirit world will begin to not only handle those who violate their oath of office and never provide justice, but the spirit world is most definitely going to handle and deal with each and every one who participated in these atrocious, wicked, evil deeds and actions. And there's nowhere you can go. There's nowhere you can run. There's no vacation you can take. There's no mountain you can hike and climb. There's no private island that you can kick your feet up and drink fruity drinks and have them bring you your favorite dishes. That some type of calamity, catastrophe, accident, boating act, whatever the case may be, is not going to find you by way of the decree and judgment that is coming from the spirit world, the ancestors, the ancient overseers, the universe, which you all do not seem to believe in. Obviously, you don't, because if you did, your behavior and your actions would match that you did, and they would be so much more different than what you all have demonstrated and exerted. With that being said, it's backwards for you to do spells to force the person to come back, change their will and their thoughts without communicating. It's dishonorable. It's not respected. It's trash. Only honest communication is dishonorable to cut your camera on, keep up appearances, talk in third person instead of confessing. It's dishonorable to tell half truths. It's dishonorable to tell half truths just for appearance sake alone, without telling the real meat and potatoes, the real specifics on what it is you're actually talking about, and how can you just skip past, how can you just go from X, AB all the way to ZX, and you skip past everything else, and everybody just go along, oh, that's okay. What you mean, no, it's okay? It's a lot of information missing. It's a lot of information here missing. And y'all, oh, that's okay. It's all good. Does anybody read? Does anybody have the type of mind that put two and two together? I mean, it's a lot of stuff missing here. But anyway, it's not respected and it's not honored to tell half truths. It's not respected and it's not honored to do energetic manipulation, slipping stuff in people's drink and food, trying to poison people to take them out because you desperately want to win at all costs. You have to contend with every action from every angle that you exerted, that you participated in. Every action from every angle is what's being accumulated and tallied, multiplied, and the divine justices and judges and beloved angels and ancient ones is deciding, how to, compute that within the divine, in the universe, the cosmos, how that is supposed to look and come back towards you. Because, it's not like you didn't have warnings. It's not like you didn't have warning after warning. Too many warnings, I would say. It's not like you didn't have extended grace after the warnings expired. And it's not like you didn't have extended mercies after the extended grace, after all the many warnings. And you spit, kicked, and boo-boo on all of that just so you could say, I want to do it my way. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. Well, that's a spirit. All of you were beguiled and tricked and set up and used, right? Because I said this in a previous video, even the head fallen angel got permission to test one of the anointed ones. He yielded and went before the throne, right? According to your scriptures and what you believe in. He had to get permission to, test one of the anointed. And he couldn't go outside of the confines or the rules that was laid before him. He can only do X, Y, and Z for a specific time, a specific purpose, for specific reason. And then after that, if it wasn't achieved, he knew to shut it down, go away, leave the situation alone. Right? And in that particular instance, if that person did not, curse his maker or, give up their faith or, become cold-hearted and dried up and bitter and angry and resentful with life, if that person didn't do any of those things, after all you did, he knew, the head fallen angel, the one y'all follow, obviously, to shut it down and go away. But for some reason, you clowns, cowards, bullies, and idiots just refused to shut it down and go away. And you had to force your lies and smear campaign, defamation to be true. None of the lies you told is true, but you had to force it to be true by foul play and manipulation and, underhanded techniques and tactics and, more lies on top of more lies. At some point, you're supposed to know how to shut it down, walk away, go away, especially if the very ones, innocent souls, innocent lives, who you continuously pursue and harass, they do everything in their power to run in the opposite direction or walk in the opposite direction, right? No, we don't run in fear. We just But in terms of, listen, I'll go in the opposite direction to mind my business, to live my life in peace, and you all can have each other. You want the girl, you want the guy, right? If you are female and your dude went the wrong way and chose somebody else over you, she can have him, sweetheart. Don't worry about him. And if they got the girl, and you are a divine partner, or you a male, and she chose somebody who looked better than you, dressed better than you, who appeared to have more money than you, who appeared to have better energy than you, even though the energy was their person's the whole time, even though the money and an inheritance and the stolen money and funds and real estate was theirs the whole time. These idiots and clowns fell for it and discarded the blessing that was in front of them and went for the illusion. That's spiritual immaturity on their part, amongst failure to do the inner work, the inner healing, refusing to address whatever it is within them that needed that healing, needed that attention. That's on them. You want her? She went with you. You was able to pull her. You got her. Yo, congratulations. Enjoy yourself. Live your life in peace. I'm gonna go over here. I'll rebuild and I'll do something different. No, that's not good enough. Y'all devils do all of that, and you keep pursuing. You keep harassing. You keep stalking. You won't let go. You did what you came to do. You achieved what you came to do. You came to create demise, discomfort, misery. You came to break up a home or break hearts, and then you had to lie and make it seem like somebody was doing that to you. Yo, you achieve what you as a devil does. You did what a devil does. Enjoy yourself, devil. Right? You won this particular, because it's a one-sided competition. You won this particular, what they say, round. Whatever it is you interfere with, which is a divine union, which is nowhere near just a regular hug. You stepped into something that you should have never touched. Never touched. However, since you decided you wanted to be a damn demon and touch it, well, guess what? You have to contend and deal with those ancestors from both sides, those high vibrational ancestors and shadow realm ancestors and divine judges and justices that's going to handle and deal with your fate. And that's on top of everything else you contributed to and done. Just interfering with the divine union alone was enough. But then you had to keep going with harassment, underhanded tactics, and lies, and defamation, and smear campaigns, and energetic manipulation, and slipping stuff in people's food, and trying to get people to expire by putting stuff in their drink and in their food. Yeah. And can I tell you, I can already see a lot of the people, certain individuals who have participated over the past year. I can already see the change in them. I can see the deterioration in them. Nothing by way of me or anything like that, because guess what? What goes around comes around. Do unto others as you would have it done unto you. Universal laws of reciprocity. The things that y'all claim, y'all believe and accept, is the very things that y'all are confused about as it's unfolding right in front of you. I've seen people in less than a year begin to deteriorate and look nothing like they did a year ago when they was participating with the harmful frequencies and energy weapons, and the bullying and the stalking and harassing. I've seen people deteriorate in a year. So you're saying to me, instead of doing the inner work and the healing, confessing, getting on track, you would rather your entire life be over or begin to decline in just 1 year, when we know time flies. A year is not that long. So you want the rest of your life to be completely over within a year, or begin to deteriorate within a year, based on selfish, stubborn, hateful, spiteful, petty, diabolical, evil, wicked actions. Well, if that's your choice, that's your choice. However, I want you to understand something. You had a choice to turn yourself around. You had a choice not to go off track, but even if you did, you had a choice to turn yourself around and get yourself back on track. But you chose not to. And it was your unhealthy ego and your pride and your arrogance that caused you to wallow in the very mud you placed yourself in, to listen to the fools and idiots and clowns around you, allowing them to quarterback you, giving your power away to a bunch of idiots who didn't know what they was talking about, who didn't know what they was doing, who was not honorable, who did not represent themselves in the way that they claimed to represent themselves. And so, whatever it is you chose is what you chose. But don't think and act as if the one you discarded is responsible for your choice. Don't think that the one you discarded is responsible for you joining a demonic coven, a criminal organization that's been under investigation. Don't think, and when I say investigation, not necessarily from, again, um, you know, any law enforcement agency. I'm talking about the spirit world, right? Because ultimately, that's who's going to handle this entire situation. If indictments and arrests never come forward, the spirit world is gonna package this thing up, gonna deal with this thing. Trust me. So don't think that your choice is the responsibility of the people you betrayed and attempted to sacrifice. If you refuse to confess and communicate openly and honestly, full truth, not half truth, because a half truth is only going to buy you a little bit of time. It's going to get a bunch of idiots who, oh, it's okay, it's all right, don't worry, as if they didn't even read what you said or they didn't even hear what you said. Because if they did, they were like, wait a minute, say that again, because it sounds like a lot missing out of that. But anyway, I'm gonna close it up. Don't feel as if, or it's backwards for you to think as if that anyone owes you anything after you discarded them. Be content and happy with the choice you made, right? You're never going to confess. You choose to remain a coward. You choose to remain suffering in silence. You choose to keep up appearances like everything is fine and everything is good. You're wearing your best dress, your makeup, your hair done. You know what I'm saying? You got on your suit, your bow tie. You pretending like everything is fine behind the scenes when you know you are suffering in silence. You'll even get in front of the camera and pretend everything is good, all good, when you know you regret the choice and decisions you made. But instead of you taking that energy and saying, I'm going to take this opportunity to turn the camera on the very next time, I regret the choice I made. I regret. Instead of you doing that, you choose to remain a cat. You choose to tell a half truth or speak in third person or act as if this is not going to leaders who I love and honor. You know what I'm saying? Because what I've known within this collective is that there is star energies and that everything is centered around the star. All of the outformation and information that's coming from the divine is centered around this collective, but the star energy that's emerging. And based on that, the star is bringing together the collective in a beautiful way. But the collective has to be willing to get in where they fit in, right? But um, they gave an analogy of the Titanic sinking and the first half being already submerged in water, but the top half is still up in the air. It hasn't hit the water yet. And many of you, clowns within this criminal network are in denial, delusional on that top half that's still up in the air. Even though the Titanic is sinking now, even though it's going down, everyone can see it's going down. It's inevitable. It's already going down in the water. The delusional ones are still on the top half up top, sipping champagne, playing spades, listening to jazz, telling the band to keep playing, acting as if nothing going on, still eating cheese crackers, still eating cheese and crackers, saying, "Pass me the salmon and what's the hors d'oeuvres and the fish eggs," and y'all still up there acting as if the ship ain't sinking. That's how delusional and denial y'all dummies is at this point in time. But hey, that's your choice. It's whatever you choose. Because again, if the indictments and arrests, if the red tape and the corrupt law enforcement that has been participating never come forward, the spirit world and the divine, the beloved angels and ancestors is going to handle this entire situation and balance the scales of justice. Confirmation.